The Chicago Cubs' The Hot Days of August was brought to you by your Pepsi-Cola General Bottlers.
The baseball fans reaches its peak when they realize their team has a chance to win it. And of course, here in Chicago, it's been 1945 since the Cubs won. Naturally, their fervor and their responsiveness is even greater than they normally would be. Of course, I thought the Cubs were going to be a contender from the very beginning. I wasn't particularly upset by the bad showing in spring training, because I've seen spring training come and go, and more mistakes are made in evaluating talent because of performances in spring training than at any other time. But when they added Matthews and Dernier, you knew now they had a solid ball club, because automatically they not only improved their offense, but they improved what they really needed to improve even more, was their defense. The line drives in the gaps that now only go for singles or a cut, were going for doubles and triples. So it automatically made the pitching staff better, because now they have double play situations, whereas before runners would always be on second and third. But the master stroke, I thought, it's rare indeed when a general manager can pick up just a little bit of pitching help. But after the season started, Dallas Green did something I doubt if any other general manager could have done or has ever done before, when he rebuilt the pitching staff. Mind you, the season was already underway when he added two starters, Dennis Eckersley and Rick Sutcliffe, and also added an outstanding relief pitcher with a great reputation in George Frazier. Now, that's 1/3 of your pitching staff, and you added that after the season had started. I think this is why the Chicago Cubs are knocking on the door today.
Well, all of that is good, Harry, but there's one ingredient that we're leaving out, and that's something that you can't overlook, because Jim Fry, with his Baltimore tradition, loves home runs. And when you look at Jody Davis and Leon Durham and Ryne Sandberg and Ron Say, you're talking about some guys that can knock the ball out of the park. But what balance they have.
They do have balance, but not a whole lot of good balance at the end of the batting order. They don't hit too much down there, and that's why it's fortunate that the overbalance comes at the top, which is even more important than the lower half.
We've talked a lot about what's the most exciting play in baseball, and there's a lot of people that say that the double or the triple is the most exciting play. But how about that steal at home? You know, the Cubs have done it twice this year with Sandberg and Durham.
Well, there you are. There's Durham, who's you don't think of him as a runner, but he's one of the fastest men in the ball club. Now, you mentioned the three men. Only Dernier and Sandberg would probably beat him in a race. And here he is right in the middle of your batting order, either hitting third or fourth, and he gives you a lot of speed on the bases, too. Speed is as necessary an ingredient as the power and the home run and the pitching that we've been talking about. Speed makes your innings stay alive. Speed defensively enables a man to get to a ball that ordinarily might be an extra base hit.
Are you surprised with three different men at shortstop that Ryne, Sandberg, and the double play combination have been able to turn so many important double plays this year?
Yeah, I would have to say yes, but on the other hand, one thing about the shortstop that's played most of the time, he may not range as far as other shortstops, but he rarely boots a ball that's hit at him. And double plays usually come from balls that are hit at you. And I think, therefore, when Larry Bowa is at shortstop, he gives you that stability of rarely booting the routine play. Maybe the play to his right and to his left, especially on AstroTurf, because he is a little older now, he may not be able to make as well, but that happens to all shortstops, and they compensate with intellect, with mentality, for what they lose as the years pile on through agility.
Well, Harry, character is a tough thing to measure on a ball club, but the Cubs have shown a lot of character this year, and I think you can look at that and see how many times they've won the game in their last at-bat. It's got to be a complete difference this year between Cub teams in the past and 1984.
I would like to even carry it further than that, be a little more profound about it. I think that true character is not just rallying in the last time at bat. Their true character has been shown to me. Their absolutely amazing resiliency is after hard luck losses. The kind of defeats that just tear your inside out. When you could have won 1-0, you lose 2-1. When you could have won 2-1, you lose 3-2. And boy, with a ball club that hasn't won for a long time, As soon as you lose 1 or 2 like that, right away they expect the worst to happen. Well, in the case of the Chicago Cubs, the worst never would happen. Somehow they bounce right back. They lost in the series in Montreal. 2 tough ball games in the first 2 games of a 4-game series. If there was ever a time for a ball club that was designed to fold, it was right there and then. Instead, they come right back and win the next 2 ball games, and thus go out of Montreal with a winning streak instead of a losing streak. Now, that's what I call character. I call character the team that refuses to buckle, refuses to fold, and the ability to take every day's play 1 game at a time.
Well, Harry, one thing you have seen is a lot of managers in your time in baseball. And we've got a man here who's piloting this ball club to the top of the standings in the National League. How do you evaluate Jim Frye's performance this year?
Well, I evaluate it primarily this way, naturally very positively. But I think he's the perfect man in the perfect spot for the perfect boss. I think that Jim Frye's greatest value is that the way he can interrelate with the man who appointed him, who's Dallas Green, the general manager. I'm sure they have differences of opinion, but I think that they're the 2 type of individuals that complement each other, and they both know where to give and where not to give, where to bend and where not to bend. And I think this has been the beautiful part of the management of Jim Frye.
Well, folks, we've touched about all of the bases with the Cubs this year, but there's one thing we haven't talked about, and that's something the Cubs have had in abundance: lady luck.
Here it is. There goes a runner. Hey, a line drive off the pitcher's game's over. Double play. Game good. Cubs win. What a lucky break.
Of Andy Pafko, Adolfo Phillips, and Rick Monday, but none played it better than Bob Dernier. He's delighted the bleacher bums with great catches, and the saying around Wrigley Field is, if it stays in the ballpark, Bob Dernier is going to run it down.
Out into right center, Dernier across, and he is there! Holy Toledo, what a play! Tony must feel like he's on vacation. He gets so many guys healthy again. A sinking liner center, and Dernier makes the play! Holy Toledo, that little guy is in the right spot again.
The fans are something to deal with. I dealt with them as an opposing player, and that was thrill all in itself. And now that I'm on the home team, it's a pleasure to be out there with them. As far as learning the field, you have to do your work and get used to where the sun's going to be at certain times of the day, and of course the wind is an ever-changing factor, so you have to stay on top of that too.
One of the reasons for the futility of the 1983 ball club was its inability to win on AstroTurf. Last year, the Cubs were 13-35 on artificial surfaces. This year, they've become a .500 club, due largely to Bob Dernier's ability to go get them in the alleys.
There's a high fly ball. Now watch the race at the plate. Bobby Dernier's catch, and Rose will hold up. Perfect throw to the plate.
Here's the pitch. Swinging, fly ball, out into deep right center. It's well hit. Dernier back, and he will come out of there with it. What about that Bobby Dernier?
Last year, the Cubs lacked a consistent leadoff man. This year, Bob Dernier has filled the bill. Hitting around .300 most of the season, Dernier has gotten on base ahead of the Bombers for the Cubs.
Line drive, another base hit for Bobby Dernier. The 3rd straight game in the series that he has opened up with a hit. There's a base hit in the center field. Bobby Dernier signals to center. And the daily double is back in force. There's a drive, and there's a fair ball into the corner. Extra bases. Bobby Dernier pulls up at second base with a double. Holy cow, the daily double is back at work.
He's got a real good on-base percentage this year, and he gets on base a lot by walks, base hits, and you know, a guy with his speed hitting in front of me, pitchers seem to think about him a lot because he is a stolen base threat, and when they do that, then you know, sometimes they forget about me as a hitter, and so I've been seeing some good pitches to hit, and I've been trying to take care of those advantages and use them to my benefit.
And those opposing pitchers should be concerned because he's got the best stolen base record on the Cubs.
time. Boy, what a break he got. Powers pitch. There goes the runner. There's the bag, and he is in there with a stolen base. Now he's going to advance to third. Milner's got a chance. Almost throws it away.
What does Dernier watch on a pitcher when he's attempting to steal?
Most of them are trying to trick you now. Most of them have some way of either going faster to home plate or else coming over to first base quicker. So since that's something that's changing all the time with each year, you have to try to stay on top of that. And there are some pitchers who you can just you can't pick up any one particular thing. You have to look at their body personality, especially right-handed pitchers, and you know, maybe look at just maybe from the waist up, because in order for them to come to first, the hip has to move first.
There goes the runner. Strike called and a stolen base for Bobby Dernier without a play.
Dernier and Sandberg have signs with one another when they want to hit and run.
Hit and run is something that Ryne and I like to do on our own. We'll give a sign to one another from first base to home plate, and it's just something that we've been able to do in the past with quite a bit of success. So like I said, we're just now really getting to the point where we can have a good idea what each other's doing.
Well, Dernier is on, and Sandberg's up there with a count. 2 balls and a strike. There goes the runner. One base hit. Right center. Here's the runner racing to third. He's going to hold up there. Once again, Sandberg came through with a hit and run on. There's a bunt up the third base side. It's going to get a run home. How about that? Exciting Cubs baseball. Bobby Dernier with a beautiful bunt got Boa home for another big Cub run. There's a long drive, deep left field, way back. It may be. It is! Holy cow!
Stolen bases, hit and run, bunts. Bob Dernier has done it all. Offensively, he's one of the reasons why the Cubs lead the league in runs scored.
The third homer of the year for Dernier.
Second base is where Ryne Sandberg plays. He's the quickest second baseman in baseball. Going to his left or going to his right, Sandberg has no peers.
It's a ground ball hit for right field. Hey, what a play! He's out! There it is, swung on a line drive to Sandberg. Sandberg moving to his right, stab Strawberry, line drive. There's a little pop fly. Sandberg on the run, a beautiful play.
Sandberg has played with 3 different second basemen this year, and despite that, the Cub double play combination is among the best in the league. Getting the ball away at second base as quickly as he can, Sandberg has turned many a force out into a twin killing.
Double play ball, maybe. Bowen's got it over. Sandberg one over the plate. Oh, and double play. There's a double play ball to Verizon. Out at second. Out at first. Double play. Could be 2. Flip and fire. Yes.
Offensively, Ryne Sandberg has had an MVP year. A look at the statistics shows you his name at the top of most offensive categories.
2 balls and no strikes. Rhino got it up to 327. High fly ball. Deep left center. It looks like it'll be playable. They drop it. They drop it. Rhino coming to third. They're going to wave him. They're going to wave him. Throw to the plate, and he's going to be out at the plate. Into left center field and deep. This is a tie ball game. 1-1 pitch. He hits it to deep left center. Look out! Do you believe it? It's gone!
Well, I think that game could have been one of the big turning points in our ball club in terms of exposure. I think the country that day found out about the Cubs as being a serious contender, and I think our ball club gained a lot of confidence coming back and beating Suter the way we did with those 2 home runs.
Be it home runs, run batted in, or base hits, Sandberg is having the kind of year that you look for when they hand out awards at the end of the season. The Cubs have been an aggressive running team this year. A lot of hit and runs, a lot of stolen bases. and Sandberg fits right into the pattern when it comes to stealing second base.
2-2. But goes right back over there to Ryne, and he's back. With a man on, Darling has really been spending some time. He's going. Inside a ball. Throw down will be saved. He got in the back door. There's a man trying to steal home. Save! Sandberg stole home.
If Sandberg is our MVP, you certainly don't need this.
Gosh should throw him out. He makes a wild throw.
Basically, what a hip pointer is, all the muscles from the upper torso attach right on the top of the pelvis. And in Ryne's case, he was hit by a knee right at the crest of the pelvis, and it caused a bruise in the area. And every time he twisted or turned or even raised his legs, he had pain. Normally, hip pointers last from a week to 10 days, depending on the severity of them.
With the treatment that I had from Tony Garofalo, you know, I was well in about 3.5, 4 days, and the last 3 games I've been playing with it. I could feel it, but it wasn't as painful as it was before. So, you know, right now I'm feeling real healthy and real strong.
Third, the pitch. A bouncing ball up the middle. Nice play by Sandberg. Out on a force play. Holy cow.
In the league. When I played, I had to face Oliver, Stargell, and Clemente. That was a murderer's row that I feared. But in the National League in 1984, if you're going to get by the Cubs, you've got to get by Matthews, Durham, and Moreland. Gary Matthews is the spirit of this ball club. His nickname is the Sarge. That's because he takes control. Gary, you've been the spirit of this ball club. A lot of guys say that you're the spark plug, the person that gets it going. Do you view yourself in that role on the team?
I am very, very kind of jubilant out there, and I just express that out there on the field. And I think when your different teammates see how happy you are or some of the things that you do, it seems to kind of run off a little bit on them, rub off rather, and gets everybody going. You get your adrenaline flowing, and once that happens out there, and especially with the crowd, you're able to go out there and play sort of kind of fancy-free, and you can turn that pressure into fun. And when you're doing that, you're having a lot of fun out there, and you're also winning a lot of ball games.
I think you're one of the most aggressive baseball players in the National League. Is it something that you set out to do when you first started to play baseball?
Well, I think we had the best teachers coming up in the San Francisco Giants organization with Willie Mays, and he always illustrated hustle. And, you know, the one thing that he did say, and I kept in my mind, that you didn't always have to get hits in order to help a team win. And I think by going out there hustling, breaking up a double play at times, and just maybe getting a hit for your teammate in the hole, that seems to get everybody going. And when you do that, you know, you feel good within yourself.
Going out of here. Home run for the Sarge.
And in the late innings, everyone knows that the Sarge is going to find some way to beat you.
Smash, base hit in the right center. Here's Gary Matthews on his way to third. Durham holding up at first. Here's a man trying to score now as the throw gets away. And he scores! Line drive right center. Going to the wall. Matthews around second. On his way to third. Around third. Racing for the plate. Game is tied up.
And that'll show you that Gary Matthews is one of the best and most aggressive base runners that the Cubs have. And every now and then, he'll do something defensively that'll surprise you.
Coming, curving, and it is a... Did Matthews make the catch? What a play! There's a drive. Left center field. On the run, on the run, on the run. Matthews! A sensational catch! Holy cow! How about that play? Line drive into left field. Watch him play at the plate. A good throw. Look at the throw. They're going to get him. He's out! Holy cow! The Sarge made a perfect throw all the way.
Sarge has brought character to this ball club. He's done it all for the Cubs, and he's one of the reasons why they're winners. Moving from the outfield to first base, Leon Durham had a tough beginning to 1984. He was greeted by boos because he replaced popular Bill Buckner at first.
Bill Buckner is an outstanding ball player, and with Jim Frye and Dallas Green and them having me to come in from the outfield to to play first base, and it was more like their situation. And the fans, they preferred to have Buckner there, but the move was made by the manager and Dallas Green to put me at first. And myself, I feel like it was a big change for me to come back from the outfield back to my natural position. And I was glad that I was able to make the adjustment and was glad to be able to get back to the natural position to play first base.
In putting Durham at first base, there were two main thoughts in my mind. One, Bill Buckner was 33 years old. Bull Durham is 27 years old. The other is that I thought the home run potential out of Durham was far greater than Buckner. Buckner's a fine hitter, we know that, but I thought Bull Durham could be a 300 hitter with maybe 25, 30 home runs.
High fly ball, center, Murphy back, looks up, it is gone! The Bull drives one to the deepest part of the park. Fly ball, deep right, up, and gone! Holy Toledo! Another bomb on Wrigley Field.
Offensively, Leon Durham has few peers in the National League. He can hit the long ball, knock in the key runs, and hit for average.
Up the middle, base hit. Here comes Dernier. Sandberg will streak to third. RBI single for Bull. He's got 3 RBIs on the day. There's a bouncer, fair ball, down toward the right field corner. Matthews will streak around third. Zimmer will wave him home. And Durham picks up his coach, throw to second. He's got to dive back and make it. Whoop. Safe. Yes, sir. Durham streaked across.
Bases loaded, second time in the last 2 innings. Here's a man trying to steal home. Save! He's still home. He's still home. Holy cow! It was a triple steal.
Defensively, Leon Durham was back at his natural position. The Bull has proven to be a solid, steady first baseman, able to pick throws out of the dirt, make the relay to second base, and do it all with the glove.
There's a line drive. Sensational catch! Ground ball. Owen better hurry. Fires. Out on a close play.
All in all, Leon Durham has been a constant spark for the Cubs. The beginning of 1984 found frustration for Keith Moreland. He had to look out at Mel Hall playing right field, a field that he manned capably last year while hitting .302. But things turned around when Mel Hall went to Cleveland and Keith Moreland got into the starting rotation. Moreland has moved around the field, providing adequate work at first base, third base, and sometimes behind the plate.
When I first came to the big leagues, is the fact that I had to play a bunch of different positions, plus I've been a catcher. And I think once that you're a catcher, you have to figure out that you cannot take your offense out on the field or your defense back into your offensive hitting, because if you do that, you're not doing your pitcher justice or your team justice, because there's so much responsibility in that. And I learned there that no matter what position you play, when you come in off the field, it's time to hit and be an offensive player. When you go back on the field, you're a defensive player, not to worry about what you're doing offensively.
There's a drive in the right field. On the run is Moreland, and he makes the catch. Nice play by Keith Moreland.
Bronce has gone in at third base, and Keith Moreland has gone to first base. Keith Moreland finds himself at yet another position.
Line drive. Nice play by Moreland, who's gotten to the point where no matter where you put him, he does well.
Lined into right for a hit. Moreland comes in to get it. He got a chance. The gun down to runner at third. He's going to be out. Beautiful throw by Moreland.
He's played well at third, first, right. He's been one of our most consistent hitters.
Keith has done it all, and he's probably the best two-out hitter on the ball club.
This season, I've come to home plate so many times with guys that hit in front of me on base that it's just seemed like that it's been that situation all season long. And sometimes you're successful and sometimes you're not. But I think that's when I strive to be my best, is when the guys are in scoring position and the game's on the line.
Came through again. 2 on, 2 out. The deuces are wide. 2-2 pitch. Fastball drilled in the left field. Here's the first run of the ball game. Here's a throw to the plate. Not in time, and Moreland came through. He didn't mean to swing a little dribble. He's going to beat it out, I think. He does. Here comes the run all the way around to third. Wild throw. Here he comes
across the plate. Great base running. There's a drive in the left field way back near the wall. It might be. It could be. Hey! A grand slam. Holy cow.
Keith Moreland was a football player at the University of Texas, and every now and then he calls upon his experience.
Now it's Moreland with a walk and a pop-up. They hit him. Now that'll really break it up. And the brawl is on because pennant fever is erupting here. There's no doubt about Moreland going after him, because in that situation, he deliberately threw at him. There's no doubt about it.
Inches wide. If you're alongside of it, you're hitting. If you're behind it, you're catching. And either place, Jody Davis has done a phenomenal job for the Cubs this year. He knows that. His teammates certainly know it. But more importantly, the fans know it.
It's exciting. It's exciting, first of all, to have all these people out here every day. It's exciting for me. It picks me up a little bit, but I try to do the best I can every at bat, even when they're not chanting. And you know, just the winning attitude, I think, has just made this whole ball team a little different.
You've really done a 180-degree turnabout defensively from last year to this, and I know there's one man who's helped you, and that's Johnny Oates.
He just decided, you know, we needed to make it fun again. The fundamental things came back, I think, just because my confidence came back, and it was fun again.
Jody's thrown out over 40% of the base runners who have tried to steal against him this year, and he credits you with reworking him in spring training. What did you do with Jody this spring?
Well, basically, we approached it from two different angles. One was from the mental point of catching, and second from the mechanical standpoint of throwing the baseball. And we talked about being able to concentrate, catching the ball in the strike zone. 2 years ago, Jody, you were one of the best throwers in the National League. How did you throw then? And we asked him just to go back and throw the ball the way he did 2 years ago.
Runner coming toward third, throw down, and it'll be out. He overslid the bag.
Pretty good time for a pitch out from Jody Davis. Let's see if he can catch Milner running.
There he goes. There's the pitch out. There's the bag. They're going to get him. He's out.
Any things that you can look for to tip off when the man's going to run?
Well, I try to watch the manager in the dugout give the signs to the third base coach. I can't really pick up a lot, but you can tell if he's, you know, if he doesn't give a sign this time, then you don't figure anything's going to be on. And you know, just a good move. The pitcher can give you a good move to first base, and you can see the runner leaning sometimes. And I think just little things sometimes tip it off.
The chant of Jody, Jody, Jody comes when Davis is at bat. And Jody Davis this year certainly has shown that he can hit the ball with any catcher in baseball. Long home runs, piles of RBIs. Jody Davis is one of the best clutch hitters in the game. The average is down a little bit, but that's because he catches every day. Jody Davis has provided offense when the Cubs really needed it, and Jody Davis has come around defensively. This has been the year when Jody Davis has established himself as one of the best catchers in the National League.
Two runs should score because they were running with the play. Jody's headed for third to throw to the plate where they didn't have a play. There's a high drive, way back left center. Shea will never hold it. Going, going, gone. Holy Toledo, Jody just set up a rocket.
Third base is known as the hot corner, and there's nobody hotter at that position than Ron Cey. If you're playing defensively, sometimes you have the pleasure of having the ball hit 120 miles an hour straight at you, and then your reflexes have to take over.
Swing smash, great play by Cey. The long throw still gets him. A one-bounce throw, and Durham came up with it. What a magnificent play. Mookie Wilson pops it up. Cey's got to play. Look out. There's a little looping pop fly, and whoa, it's
a foul ball is a good thing that saved
Ron Cey came from a tradition of winners with Los Angeles. Cey has had some physical problems this year and is battling a couple of wrist injuries.
With Ron's right wrist, we try to stabilize his wrist so he doesn't have a lot of movement in it. That's why he's heavily bandaged. We put a pad underneath the bandage so he can stabilize a little bit better, so when he swings it is not hurting him that much. On his left wrist, he fell on his wrist in Cincinnati, and what we basically do there is just strap it to give it a little support so it's not so free moving.
I've just dismissed the fact that they exist now, and I'm just trying to go out there and not think about what they actually are feeling like.
But Ron Cey has come through, and he couldn't pick a better time to get hot. Cey has produced RBIs in bunches the last couple of weeks, and Ron Cey has provided constant offense and defense at third base.
There's a base hit in the left center. One run in. Two runs in. Runner going to third. And the Penguin came through. And listen to the Cub fans.
Ron Cey, one of the big reasons why the Cubs are winning in 1984. A team is only as good as its starting rotation, and the 1984 Cubs starting rotation was suspect in spring training. Now people around the league suspect that this ball club has the best starting pitching in baseball. No team can go without an anchor, and the #1 starter for the Cubs is Rick Sutcliffe.
Well, Sutcliffe, I would have to say, was godsend for us. He came in when we needed pitching desperately and reeled off. I think he's won almost every game. He's just been perfect for us.
It's just a great opportunity for me to be here. When you stop and look at the standings, you can see what a great adjustment it was and an improvement it was for me, and a great opportunity. You know, you get out here and you get in front of 40,000 people in Wrigley Field, and the people, it's like having a 10th man on the field. You know, we've come a long ways, and there's no reason to think that we're not going to be there when it's all over with.
Eckersley came in a trade with Buckner to Boston. He's pitched very well. In fact, pitched far greater than his record showed.
What's it like pitching with a team that's on the verge of going all the way?
Well, I'll tell you, it makes it a lot more exciting to come to the ballpark, first of all. And it's kind of scary, but it's a nice scare. It'd be a little different us trying to catch somebody. But we're up now by 5, and so we'll see what happens.
Sanderson we got from Montreal during the winter. Aside from injuries, Scott Sanderson has pitched very well from us.
He was in the hospital for about a week to 10 days. After that, he was started on a swimming program. We kept him away from all types of running. We made him ride an exercise bicycle and basically lower back stretching.
Ruthven, of course, has had injuries, physical problems for a couple of months, but he's pitched better than his record. He always was stacked up against their ace early in the year. I don't think he had much luck going his way in '84.
Steve Trout has won more games this year than at any time during his career. The only left-hander in the rotation, Trout will give you the big game when you really need it.
Sandberg the ball up, and the Chicago Cubs have beaten the Cardinals 6-1.
Last year was almost a trying period for him, where we were working on different things, trying to get him where he felt comfortable. And this year, when he came to spring training, he made a couple of trips to Florida, talked about some things, worked on mechanics, looked at some films, and he went to spring training this year, and he didn't really have to worry about mechanics as much as just going out there now and let everything get in the flow and throw, and he had an outstanding spring and carried on through the season.
No matter how good your starting rotation is, you can't win without a quality short reliever, the man who comes in a tough situation and ends the ball game. In the case of the Cubs, it's none other than Lee Smith.
Lee Smith, of course, came off of a knee injury, and in the early going, especially when it was cold in April and May, had a lot of knee problems. Was abused by some because of mediocre performances early on, but now, of course, has come on to be one of the leading game savers in the National League and in all of baseball.
Now he had the knee operation this year, and you know, we had to do some things with him mechanically, lifting up his leg properly and getting that front leg where he'd land, where he wouldn't put a lot of pressure on the knees. And he's been, you know, he's done a good job this year, and we feel he's as good as anybody in the National League.
Our bullpen, of course, carried us at a time during the middle part of the year when Ruthven and Sanderson were down, and we didn't know what our starting rotation was going to be. Stoddard, Frazier. Bordy came out of the bullpen a couple of times and won some big games for us.
The Cubs win the doubleheader.
Brustar was used on a regular basis in the middle innings. We even used Ruschel at times in relief in the bullpen. I think that the bullpen has really been overlooked because the other factors, that is starting pitching and hitting, were the things that most of the media dwelled on. But I felt like our bullpen did a good job to keep us in the race in the middle of the year.
This is a good place to watch a game. There's only one problem. If you're in here, you can't possibly be out there. That's where everyone wants to be, but unfortunately only 9 men can play at one time. There are 25 men on a baseball team, and no team can win without a good bench. Jim Frye's Chicago Cubs are no exception. Take Henry Cotto, for instance. Whether as a late inning replacement or somebody who comes into the game as a starter because of injuries, Cotto has really come through. Make no mistake about it, if the ball stays in the ballpark, Henry Cotto is going to catch it. Henry Cotto has been a pleasant surprise for Jim Frye in a pinch hitting role. They didn't think much about his bat in spring training, but he's come through and he's hit the ball well every time Frye's called upon him. Cotto's come up with some big hits this year for the Cubs.
Man, oh man, 4 hits for Cotto.
He bonds by the mound. He's got a chance to beat it out, and he does.
To be a complete ball player, you've got to run the bases, and whether it's going from first to third on a single or stealing second base, Henry Cotto has been a valuable man on the base paths for the Cubs.
On the play, Durham goes to second.
Going. Throw down will be late. Rolls into center. It was a little collision between Cotto and Santana.
Major league spots on the roster are not won without perseverance, and the greatest example of perseverance on this club is Thad Bosley. Major league spots on the roster are not won without perseverance, and the greatest example of perseverance on this club is Thad Bosley. 3 or 4 years in the minor leagues, up and down with several clubs, including a stop in Mexico. Bosley didn't think he had a chance to make the club this year. He went down to the minor leagues, did a great job, and came back to help the Cubs. Bosley has been coming through in late innings as a defensive replacement. He's hit the ball very well in a pinch hitting role, and Thad Bosley is a valuable member of this bench.
Tied it up.
One left-hand hitter in the lineup tonight, Thad Bosley, and he knots this one at 3.
The pitch. High fly ball, right field. Bosley coming on the run, and Cubs win. Cubs win. Cubs win on a magnificent running catch by Thad Bosley.
This is where Jim Frye spends most of his afternoons. He's no stranger to winning. He took Kansas City to the World Series in 1980. Jim Frye has handled this ball club with expertise this year. Whether it's diffusing a volatile situation with player discontent early in the season or changing a pitching staff due to injuries, Frye has been equal to the task. A good manager has got to be part psychologist, part father confessor, with just a little bit of Houdini in him. Jim Frye fills the bill on all 3. Oh yes, there's one more thing. You've got to be a little bit of a cheerleader.
Don't worry about the runners. Take your time in your delivery and pop. These guys can't beat you. They can't beat you. Come on, Penguin, let's see you nail one right here. Lay down it! Attaboy! 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 God damn it! Come on, Bull, keep it going.
Jim, you won in 1980. You took Kansas City to the World Series. You came over here. You've had a tremendous amount of success. If you were going to evaluate yourself as a manager, describe Jim Frye's managerial reign for me.
Well, I really think that managing #1 priority is being able to evaluate talent and being able to evaluate people and trying to use that talent and use those people in the right situations. People talk about strategy and handling of people and all of that, but I think your judgment, that is just basic baseball judgment about people and talent, is probably the most important ingredient a man can have.
So there they are, the Chicago Cubs. a team of players that have come together and proven that they can win in the hot days of August. Harry and I will be back after this to see what September may bring. With the Cubs, they went 20-10. And Harry, what lies ahead?
Well, September always follows August, you know. And as hot as they were in August, they have started September by winning their first 2 games. With only 26 games to play, I would say that they are in a commanding position. Now, you could hardly be sitting any prettier than they are right now, even though we head for Philadelphia and then Montreal and then, of course, Shea Stadium over the weekend before meeting those same teams at Wrigley Field next week.
Well, the West is behind the Cubs. They finished with the best record against the West since 1969. And after 3 out of 4 from Atlanta here, they're looking pretty, but they've got to face the East now. And that's the way it should be, Harry, facing contenders as you go down toward the wire.
You know, there's one thing about a baseball race, Steve, and you know it better than anybody else because you've been in it. And that is that when you win a pennant, you have earned it. There is no accident. You play now 162 games. It used to be 154. You might have luck for a day or two. You might have luck for a week or two. Everybody does. It gets their share of the luck. But when you go through a marathon, grinding out 162 games, when you're on top at the end of that, you have richly earned your honor.
And they've got to play the teams that they have to beat head-to-head. They've got 4 games left with Philadelphia. They've got 6 games left with the Mets, including a big weekend series this weekend in New York. Then they come back, they play the Mets at home, and if they win 5 of the 6 of those, Harry, I don't think the Mets can catch him.
Well, don't talk about 5 out of 6. Why not even think 6 out of 6? Let's be greedy. No, they are in great shape. You know, all they have to do now is break even, and they're home free. I'd hate to be in Philadelphia's shoes. They are all but out of it, and one victory by the Cubs tomorrow could just about eliminate them. And I'd hate to be in the Mets' shoes, too, because they almost have to win all 6 games they have remaining with the Cubs. 3 at Shea Stadium next weekend and 3 at Wrigley Field the following weekend.
And Jim Fry has his starting rotation planned perfectly. Rick Sutcliffe is going to start against Philly tomorrow. He's also going to get a start against the Mets.
And the Chicago Cubs got through the hot days of August brilliantly. And I have a feeling that September is going to be the month that everybody has been waiting for, and I just want every one of our fans, I don't know where you can find a ballpark that big, but I'd sure like to see every one of our fans experience the thrill that comes from a team winning a championship after as many years of drought as the Chicago Cubs have had to date.
Well, stay tuned with us, folks, because it's going to be a great month of September, and be out at the ballpark.
The Chicago Cubs' The Hot Days of August was brought to you by your Pepsi-Cola General Bottlers.